Junior.
If there's one thing I know for sure, it's that I know nothing.
And now, coming to you live from somewhere on the internet, welcome to the MMA for March podcast with your hosts, Andy and Ethan.
That's right. Another week, another podcast.
You know, Train Tracks Jr. made it onto the intro before I pressed the fucking play button.
Oh, really?
Really softly. Train Tracks Jr. play.
Train Tracks Junior.
Made it.
Which is becoming a mantra of this podcast,
It is.
unfortunately. But it is. What's up, Marks? What's up, guys? Welcome back another week. I'm Andy. It's my co-host, Ethan.
Konnichiwa, minasama.
Coming in hot. UFC, Bellator, not fake Logan Pauls,
Boxing.
freaking weight failures, boxing. I mean, it is.
We got a jam-packed show for you,
Jam.
motherfuckers.
It's jamming, man. You know what I mean? It's space jamming. Michael Jordan, 1997. In your hands, you feel all right. You'll take it in a overdrive. We're gonna do the space jam.
Space Jam.
Dude, we had about 30 minutes of banter before we even came on.
Dude, that's our warm-up, bro. We're fucking hot. We're hotter than Derek Lewis's shorts in Texas, baby.
Well, then those just come off. Then we're on the floor. At that point, I'd rather be his balls. But okay, let's jump right in. Let's jump right in. Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis.
How often do we
Huge
start
boxing
this show with a boxing match?
We don't, but it was the biggest. It was the biggest fight of the weekend by far.
Biggest
I
fight of
watched
the
it
year.
instead of watching UFC. I caught up on UFC after
I
the
watched
fact. It's the only thing I
wrestling.
watched live.
I was at a wrestling show Friday and
I
Saturday.
didn't watch it live, but I watched it about an hour after the fact, so it was kind of live.
Kinda.
But yeah, you watch box. You watch what was on wrestling? You said?
No, I was at two wrestling shows on Friday and Saturday. So
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, I was literally at wrestling. By the time we got out of wrestling, I hadn't eaten since like 8 hours. So I was like, "Fuck, I need to eat something." So when I was waiting in line at Steak and Shake, I looked at Twitter and it was already in the 6th round, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then I refreshed it while I was like waiting to pay for my food, and it's like, "Oh, the fight is over." I was like, "God damn!" Because I hit up my boy. My boy was 10 minutes from the place, so the thing was, I was gonna leave the venue and then go to my boy's house, which is 10 minutes away. And then he's like, "Dude, don't come over. My Fire Stick's fucking up." And I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I was like, "Well, I'm 10 minutes away anyway, so I'm gonna vibe with you anyway." So fucking, I went over there.
behind the times these days, you know.
No, but he's got one of those hack Fire Sticks, you know how they are. And he's like, "Oh,
Even worse, dude.
no, he's seen.
They cause problems. I've been there.
So we saw the last boxing pay-per-view, Benavidez and Trout. We saw that one, no problem. I saw, and he saw the Adesanya.
This was a bigger one. Maybe it was like kind of
100%. It was a
thing,
lot of people on
you
the
know what I mean?
server, and basically the
Wrong
server,
VSAT, maybe.
basically the server that the guy uses that he's in or whatever needed to be reset. But this dude was at his kid's like basketball tournament or some shit somewhere, so he wasn't in front of his computer.
His crack guy wasn't there
basically.
to re-crack the stick that was
Yeah.
on fire.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Hi,
We're
so-
caught up.
Yeah. So anyway, so we ended up watching the fucking what's it called? We ended up seeing the knockout on Twitter, and then we bullshitted. We watched a whole bunch of old boxing, bro. We watched Shane Mosley, old boxing, Manny Pacquiao.
You didn't watch the whole fight?
I watched it back afterwards.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I watched it earlier today. For the show.
So you watch the ESPN classics? Is that
No, we
still
just went on
going
YouTube. No, well, I don't know. I don't know if ESPN Classic still exists, but we went on YouTube. So we watched some old Shane Mosley. We watched some old what's it called? Some old Manny Pacquiao. We watched Gervonta Davis's fight against
Now, when you say
Gamboa.
old Manny Pacquiao, you mean current Manny Pacquiao?
No, I mean when he was a young boy, 2003 against Eric
Ooh.
Morales.
Gotcha.
He asked me, "What's one fight that you watched that you wish didn't end?" And I was like, besides your Gotti wars,
This is
besides
before
those
the
type of fights,
presidential election.
2003, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's before his presidential
before
term.
Bush. Yeah, before Bush.
No, Manny.
Oh, way before. Duh.
Yeah. All right.
Manny was still being a hoe.
We're cooking.
Manny was still being a hoe. But no, that's one fight. If you guys want to watch one solid, amazing boxing fight, Eric Morales versus Manny Pacquiao 1 from 2003 is a great fight to go watch. Fantastic fight to go watch. And I love watching Antonio Margarito get his ass kicked. So I watched Antonio Margarito get his ass kicked against Shane Mosley. That was fun too.
Where's Margarito originally from?
Mexico.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Mexico,
That's like one of those where it's like, is that Mexico or Italy? You know what I mean? It's right. It's the name is right there.
I was Margarita, Mexico to me, buddy.
Margarita is Italian. No, Margarita.
Maybe that's how an Italian person says that.
Fair.
That's not like his last name is fucking Spicoli.
Yeah, that's true. Is that yeah, okay, Spagoli. What if his last name was Ravioli? You know?
Then he would be Antonio Chef
Spaghetti.
Boyardee. Chef Boyardee Ravioli. That'd be his nickname.
Okay, only Italian people's last names can only be like Ravioli, Spaghetti.
For real, right? That's like saying every French person should be named Croissant. What the fuck?
What's your name? Frank Croissant?
Frank Croissant.
Frank Croissant. Hello, sir.
Hey, when you go Britain, what the fuck?
I was gonna say, wait a minute, what about the Brits? We gotta give the Brits some. What do you call every British person last name?
Fucking fish and chips. I don't know.
It's George, fucking royalty, king, something, dude.
McCarthy.
Lord, Lord, governor. Call him all.
What's your name? George Wanker.
Bob Governor. My name's Bob Governor.
We're offending so many motherfuckers.
We're offended.
Remind me to ask Sean for our demographic, because for Talk the Cake, I think I told you this off
I
air.
hope we're smashing in Italy.
That would be great. No, I found out Talk the Cake. Shout out to Matt and Talk the Cake podcast on WTO Network.
Fucking Marvin Vittori's like, I know you guys are talking shit about me. Fuck you guys.
So much for getting him on an interview.
Yeah, no,
for
you'd
real.
never come on here.
No, dude, but I found out that our biggest demographic besides America is fucking India and Germany. Don't know why Germany.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Fatherland. Yeah,
yeah.
It's
see hi.
Yeah, they're my. I can't by blood. I can't, but yeah, the old people. Thanks, guys.
Back in my day,
yeah. I mean, I legally by blood heritage cannot say that, so they'll come and get me. The Mossad.
I remember I told you off air the story about how I showed my German boss, fucking the movie Downfall. And it showed all the people.
Bro, I was just watching highlights from Downfall today.
It's so great. I'm
gonna watch. Like, I'm gonna watch it probably later tonight. Like, that's how much I watched. Like, probably 30 minutes of highlights, and I'm like, what am I doing? Just watch the whole fucking movie.
That don't know about Downfall,
so good.
It's most famous for like the Hitler like line. It's like, it's over. That's what it's most famous.
Bro,
for.
You do the line so good.
That was just gibberish. It's fucking gibberish. I don't know German. The only German I know is Danke.
You've done it. You've said that line to me so many times. So when we bring this up, and you do that same one every time, it's so good.
So good. No, so that's what it's most known for. But I remember showing my German boss the clips of after Hitler dies, and all the Germans are like committing suicide, pulling their fucking brains out. And my boss looked at me and cried and was like, "Oh, that brought up rough memories."
You're basically. Fucking bro, I've never met a guy so fucking inappropriate.
This is back in like 2015, 2016. So needless to say, I was on her shit list that day.
That fucking year, dude. What the fuck?
She loved me. I was one of her best workers.
Not that day, dude.
No,
not that time.
Not that day.
Oh my god, bro, that's.
I told that story off air, so it don't make sense. offend Germany by saying it on air, right?
I know you've told it off air, but I completely forgot it. It's so funny.
Yeah,
I can't
one of my
believe
highlights.
you.
It's one of my highlights.
Yeah, it's something you would do completely. Like any person who knows you, like all the guys in the chat would be like, "Oh, that tracks." So yeah,
100%. Anyway, anyway, Tank and Garcia.
Wait, hold on. Just real quick side note. If any of the listeners, in case any of you are still here, I'm about to let the rest of you fucking go. If you guys are interested in me and Ethan doing a side podcast about fucking history, please comment.
About anything.
About anything, but no, history specifically. World War II specifically. If you'd like to hear us rant about fucking the geopolitics and strategies of World War II, please let us know. All right. Moving on.
We lost one viewer.
I was gonna say I'm gonna run the rest off right now.
That was on the MMA for Mark's page too. We lost it. So yeah, one person viewing on my page.
That's great.
Whoever that is.
That's great. All right. Okay. So moving on. The fight itself, Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. A lot of anticipation, a lot of build up around the fight.
A lot
of pageantry, which is kind of normal for boxing, but at the 100%. Same time, not super normal, especially when it comes to, I feel like the buildup. I think because Ryan Garcia is involved in it, the YouTube aspect, he understands the marketing of that a little bit more.
Well, Ryan Garcia is one of the most followed boxers in all of like social media.
He's one of the only boxers that I follow because I love Ryan Garcia, and I know he's cocky and all this other shit. It's not. I don't love his personality. I just like anyone in boxing who's willing to fucking speak up and say a word to get themselves out there. Kind of like the MMA guys. So anyone in boxing who's willing to fucking.
Do you follow the Charlo brothers? They talk a lot of trash.
Yeah, the Charlo brothers are funny. You know what I mean? Yeah, anybody like that. I do follow in boxing, but I don't know any of the other boxers because a lot of them, like a lot of the, a lot of guys in UFC are the same way. They don't really just say anything.
I'll give you somebody else you should watch. Shakur Stevenson.
I think you've told me about him before.
Yeah,
I've seen him fight. Yeah,
he fights 130. Yep, you should definitely check him out.
That's why I always like Triple G. He always had big drama show. It's just there was always something interesting, and I think that's why. My by far favorite boxer of this era has to be Tyson Fury. I mean, it'd be disingenuous to almost say anything otherwise. I mean, he's so fucking entertaining. The guy is more entertaining than any other person probably
in all of
combat sports. Exactly.
He's got his
I don't know anyone.
His charisma just the fucking.
I gotta switch my chair. This shit's squeaking the fuck out of me. Real quick.
I'm not hearing shit, dude.
Oh really?
No, I'm not shit. The thing is because we're talking. That's what it is, bro. I don't hear fucking nothing. I hear nothing. I hear fuck nothing as we wait for Andy.
He literally is the most, he's the most charismatic guy in all of MMA. Anytime he makes a headline, anytime he says anything, I literally have heard, I've heard the MMA media cover it. I mean, the next day. I mean, there's not even boxing channels that cover him as fast as MMA media does. MMA media, they love covering Tyson Fury. You know what I mean?
100%.
So he's he's definitely one of the more entertaining boxers of today's era. There we go. Got that all figured out. He's definitely one of the more entertaining fucking boxers of today's era. So I like, I definitely like watching him. But anyway, going back to the fight, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis.
Hit me with what you said, because I'm waiting.
I thought the fight itself in general was great. As far as boxing goes, I thought that, well, let me take that back. I didn't think the fight was great. I thought Tank Garcia's strategy was fantastic and genius.
Tank Davis.
Tank Davis. What did I say? Tank Garcia? My bad. Tank Garcia.
Garcia did not have a good strategy at all.
Tank Garcia would be a fucking monster. Both of them combined, the speed and the fucking Anyway, I thought Davis did a great job shoulder rolling. I mean, dude, he shoulder rolled better than anyone since Floyd. I feel like, that I've watched. Anyway, in my opinion,
I made that observation. I was like, dude, he's becoming Floyd Mayweather in terms of his counter punching and his defense.
A lot of people said that too,
while having fucking star stopping power. for sure.
He definitely has that power.
I definitely got that more than any other fight.
And I think we all knew that. We were just waiting, and that was the thing. Early on, it was very entertaining to see Garcia go out. He really did try to kind of get on him early, but
he did. No, he established the jab really well in round one.
I don't know why, because it seemed like a inefficient game plan.
It was not. So what happened was,
you know what I mean? But hold on, wait. I just want to say this. I think overall the fight itself, masterpiece by Tank Davis in the art of boxing. Like what he achieved, what he's able to accomplish, and the way he fought that fight. That's a masterpiece in what he was able to do in his.
He was able to neutralize Ryan's biggest weapon. I mean, Ryan came out strong. He definitely won round one, and he was winning round two significantly. He came out in round one, established a jab. Davis didn't do much, but that's fairly traditional with Tank Davis. He normally takes round one, tries to like get his feel for everything going on in his surroundings and his fighter. And in round two, Garcia came out very aggressive. Started throwing more combinations, started trying to get more closer to Tank Davis to try and narrow like the gap that Davis was trying to narrow himself. He really got inside, but then he got overzealous and he got caught with a straight left to the fucking nose that dropped him. And at that point, that was the biggest fucking change in the fight, because rounds 3, 4, and 5, turtle shelled. He gave him too much respect. And so he didn't go after it the way he was going after it in round two, fearing that any more overzealousness would result in more negative reaction, or consequence rather. So that's really what happened. Tank easily won 3. He won 2, and then he won 3, 4, and 5, no problem. Round 6, he was more aggressive for sure. It was a closer round. And I thought that Garcia definitely won that round. He started throwing his right hand again more. He was starting to get a bit more aggressive, picking up the pace because he knew that he was falling behind from that aspect. Round 7 was the same thing. He continued to come in. He was continued to be more aggressive, but again, overzealous. He was basically overthrowing a couple of the shots that let him open. And so what happened was Tank came in and I never mastered this when I boxed. Like I just was never good at it, using like the shoulder push to get in the guard to get in the fighting guard. And then as he broke away to raise his hands up to protect his head, he caught him with that really, really slick body shot to the ribs. And, there's a lot to be said in regards to that. Many people are saying that fucking Garcia threw the fight. That's not the case. However, I will say it's not the case. However, I will say that with how, he got up. He lost his breath for sure. It was a debilitating body shot. It was compounded by the fact that he had that rehydration clause rather.
Several things compounded that body shot.
That body shot.
He paid that body shot. He paid for that body shot all the way from round 1. You know what I mean? Like he literally went from round 1. He paid for that body shot. That work that he did, like you said, I really think that he exhausted himself much further. I'm sure he has a good poker face. He's an athlete. You know what I mean?
I would disagree.
I think he exhausted himself a lot further than we realized in round 1 and 2, because he just, even though his output it definitely wasn't the same, but it didn't stand me that much in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. If you exhaust yourself that much in the beginning of any kind of athletic type of competition, then you have this thing at the end where you have to exhaust, or it takes away, it depletes from you. It's going to affect you. And him getting that body shot at that time, I think the reason why the whole deal about him, throwing the fight is because to a lot of people, including myself, it's like, well, you took the knee, I get it from the body shot, but you also had the count, and you chose not to respond to the count. You stayed down. At that point, you did quit. You did stop.
By definition, you did quit.
That's where my biggest thing with one, to me, it clouts Tank Davis's victory just a little, not much. 2, it really, I think it puts a lot in the old head boxing corner. Credit for Ryan Garcia down a lot. His fans won't give a fuck. Yeah. And honestly, it bodes well for him in the rematch, because if you think about it, if he would have kept going and got knocked out or something like that, we wouldn't be talking that much about it. But now we can definitely have a rematch conversation.
Yeah,
and the fight had so much buzz, and boxing be dumb not to do a number 2. So I think I get why he stopped. I think that's why he stopped. But
by definition, you're right
opinion,
in terms of him quitting because he didn't get up. But I think it wasn't so much a capitulation due to like him, to him just flat like quitting. I think what it was is
capitulation.
Capitulation.
Japanese knew a lot about that word in 1944, 45.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. No, but I think what it was is he ate that shot and he saw the writing on the wall. However, there's that aspect of it. And the second aspect of it is, for me, the way the fight was going in that 7th round when he was winning, let's say he won the 6th, he was starting to build momentum. If he had not ate that body shot, or if he wasn't that debilitated where the body shot affected him to that capacity, I feel that the latter parts of the rounds would have been very, very intriguing. And it's not to say that Tank, it's not to say Tank wouldn't have got him out later. Maybe the 8th or 9th round, he would have hit him with an even better body shot or an effective left or right that would have stunned Garcia again. So I'm not saying that the result would have potentially changed as a result of not having that happen.
Right.
But I think it would.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it would have been a better fall. And in terms,
I think it's where some of that where that some of that scrum is coming from. It's like, well, because people see he had the ability. He was definitely figuring it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said, how many rounds? It's a 12-round fight, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
36
minutes. You got to think another 5 rounds. I mean, it's something.
It would have been closer. He was down 3 rounds.
Been closer.
Right. He was down 3 rounds. 2 rounds. He was down 2 rounds.
Could have Davis could have also, you think about that. He could have Davis at that in the 9th or the 10th round, Davis could have caught him with something bad.
Yeah.
Bad, you know what I mean?
And it wasn't a capitulation due to quitting. It was a capitulation due to self-preservation. He saw the writing on the wall.
That's how I look at it too.
And he was like, I'm gonna live to fight another day. In terms of your point of the rematch clause, I've said this on a couple of chats already. I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, what Ryan needs to do is he needs to go win a couple belts at 140, and then he needs to challenge Tank. Be like, come get my belts. Come get my belts. Come get my belts.
I can't disagree with you more. I think he should immediately challenge Tank Davis. He had the fight. He fucked up. You just gotta slow down in that first.
He does not get to
slow down in that first and the second round.
That weight.
You gotta slow down at then maybe do a different weight, but you gotta slow down.
140. It's 135, then 140.
You got to slow down that first and second round. Dude, if you slow down in the first and the second round, a fight is completely different, and we're having a different conversation. I'm not saying he wins the fight, but I'm saying
he did fine in the first round. The first round was completely fine. It was the second round where he overexerted himself and then got caught with the punch.
He also did in the first round too. You can argue that because there was no damage affected to Tank Davis.
He established no damage. Was more busy, therefore,
but it was to no effect. It was to nil effect. It was to very little effect.
Davis,
the amount of energy he exerted in round 1 did not amount to anything over the course of the fight.
No, at the end of the day, Davis only threw 7 punches in the first round. He was not as active. It's fair to say that
throw anything else. Why would he? He didn't need to throw anything else.
He only hit him with
Ryan was throwing everything, but landing very small and landing nothing big at all.
He was only going to grab him round 1.
But he was throwing flurries. He was trying to connect. He was trying to get on the inside. The beginning, Tank Davis just kept grabbing him. He was just like, fuck this shit. That was round 2. And that was great too, because when Tank started clinching with him, which is the part about boxing I fucking love, you start clinching and then he just starts throwing. He's fucking on the insides, really giving Garcia a hard time, not landing super clean hits himself, but he's a shorter boxer. He's got smaller arms. He doesn't,
and that's why I said
he could be on the inside,
and that's why I said that Garcia should challenge at his weight at 140. It's true to say that with more weight potentially comes more power, but at the same time, you have a far less depleted Garcia fighting at his natural weight, you have Garcia. I'm sorry, you have Davis coming in at 5 pounds heavier. It makes him a little bit slower. And it's up to him to adapt to that. Does he do 5 pounds of just weight? Does he do 5 pounds of muscle? Right. You know, the muscle comes with more power, but it comes with more potential fatigue. So Ryan needs to get the rematch at some point at his natural weight division with no rehydration clause.
You can't let Tank get better. That's the problem.
And that's fair.
The problem is if you don't rematch him now, he gets better. And when you rematch him in 2 or 3 years, you might not be able to touch him. So you have to rematch him now and squeeze the juice out of the fight. That's the other problem too. If you take the chance of him going away and Tank Garcia exposing something on Ryan Garcia in this last fight and him losing the next fight or two, you can't take that chance.
See, the problem that
you can't.
The problem
I think Garcia knows that because he is a YouTube kid and he knows you have to take advantage of that of the juice when you have it.
I think
he's got it now.
So there's a problem for the boxing community.
Boxing's different than MMA. They don't move like that.
There's a problem for the boxing community that we hate, but is going to work in their benefit. Is the fact that both of them are signed to 2 promotions that don't largely work with other promotions. A Golden Boy generally doesn't, on most times, work with other promotions. Ryan Garcia's promotion, Golden Boy, and Tank is with Money.
Hoya got mad.
Of course he did. Oh, of course he got mad. Of course he did. And Tank
did some coaching for that video.
And Tank is with Money Mayweather with TMT, and they work mostly with PBC, which is fine. But the problem is for Tank at 135, all of the boxers he needs to face are with Top Rank. Your Devin Haney's, your George Cambozos, your Vasily Lomachenkos. All 3 of them are signed with Top Rank, and they don't necessarily really work with Top Rank very often because of the contentious relationship between TMT and Bob Arum. So in terms of your point of him getting better, he'll
go boxing.
I know.
Holy shit.
I know.
Holy shit, dude. That's so. Oh my god.
I know.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're
not. I lost more people on that than we did the fucking war shit, dude. Oh
yeah, dude. So in terms of your point of them getting better, it's true that they'll both take fights and they'll both probably get some decent fights and they'll win and they'll get more exposure and more rounds in, you can say. But in terms of them facing that high level competition, it's a lot less likely in that instance. Obviously, Tank has all the momentum. He's got the pay-per-view draw. So it would make more natural sense for Tank to go after guys at 135, the heavy hitters. But it's just the problem of making those fights. And so to your point, how can you get better facing the best when you don't get that opportunity because of extenuating circumstances? So versus Ryan Garcia is probably a little bit more apt to fight more guys that may be a higher caliber perhaps than Tank Davis. And the other reason why I was really rooting for Garcia, even though I knew Tank was going to win, is the fact that Tank even had a little bit of struggle against a couple lesser tier opponents. If Gamboa hadn't broken his ankle in that fight, he was having a little bit of difficulties putting away because Gamboa was just coming in, he was eating punches and still there 100%. Throwing in there. He had problems against Hector Luis Garcia, where I thought that Hector Luis Garcia had a legitimate shot to win that fight. And so that caused him a little bit of issues as well from that perspective versus Ryan Garcia, he's been floored once, but he's never really had any true adversity prior to this fight. So there's many angles you can go with that.
Tank Davis is the highest rated opponent though he's faced.
1,000%. Yes, okay. 1,000%.
I mean, I think, you know, he's definitely he's still on the come up, and he's obviously got more time.
Young as shit.
Both guys are still young as shit, right? Exactly. But I think Tank Davis probably is a little bit more seasoned in the game of boxing. He came in with and his coaches are for sure. He came in with the perfect game plan. He allowed Ryan Garcia to exhaust himself.
100%.
Now listen, now that we have yes, it was a great fight. Okay. I have got to say, I am fucking glad that I did not buy that piece of shit because I was fucking falling asleep in the 3rd and the 4th, 5th round. Okay.
And I said it because you were probably high as a kite.
Well, there was a little bit of that, but it was also, I wasn't the only person watching, and all of us were all like, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, listen, it wasn't that it was super boring for boxing. It was just, there was just these lulls in it where it was just Tank doing a lot of defensive work, hitting him a little bit, and Garcia trying to get after it. And it just wasn't a lot happening. You know what I mean? And so it was just,
you can pretty much agree that you're a boxing casual. You watch the major fights, but you don't follow
the 6th round, 7th round, I woke back up. Yeah, and it was entertaining again. So I think in the 1st and the 2nd round, I was right there. But I mean, I gotta say, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, and the way it ended with the knee, I was like, "Fuck this!" That pissed me off. Yeah, with him taking the knee. You know what I mean? I was like, you're thinking. I understand it. With a knee. I can break it down. Yeah. Bam. You know, Tank. You didn't see Tank hit him with the knee right at the end. Yeah. No, I could break it down and understand what he did, why he did. But as a fan, I was like,
So
fuck.
to me,
you know,
in
the co-main was more entertaining.
In the third round or the fourth round, when there was those lull in actions,
come at me.
More Ronaldo made a really good point. It's not really a comeback, but it's an understanding. As someone who's a boxing enthusiast like myself versus someone who's mostly a boxing casual like you are,
or like a boxing explainer.
Because I love boxing, bro. It's what I grew up on first. But you know, he made a good point. It's like, listen, at the end of the day, the tension, what you live for the action, obviously. But as someone who studies and knows boxing and has watched so many fights, you can tell the palpable energy in that fight, the tension of the fear of the knockout from both men, Ryan Garcia's left hook and Tank Davis's left hand and right hand.
More Garcia from Davis, I feel like.
Yeah, he said that, listen, he's like, the tension of the fear of the knockout is so thick, you need a chainsaw to cut it. And that made so much, that metaphor made so much sense.
Morrow. Morrow's so good, dude.
Morrow is so fucking good.
He made that, to be honest with you, he made that fight super entertaining.
Well, he's the best commentator in all of boxing.
He's the best commentator of all commentating. I'll go ahead and throw him up there in Rushmont more. Yeah, he's up there.
But no, I enjoy Morrow and Ronaldo more. I enjoy Ronaldo more.
That gives me,
you know. But anyway, so that's how you have to measure the fight. Yes, there was a lack of action in between the rounds because Ryan gave him too much respect. But I think when you have that palpable tension, that's the stuff that boxing fanatics and real boxing fans like myself, we live for. That keeps you on the edge of your seat by itself. The action just gives you, like, you know, that boost, that let's fucking go energy. But that contentious energy, that tension there is just like, oh man, like you're really wondering, where is this gonna go? Because all it takes is one shot from either fellow and it's down. You're dealing with two lighter weight guys that have hard hitting light heavyweight power, comparable to their division. So you know, so that's the allure of that fight, and that's the allure of why you can't say, for me at least, I can't say that it was anything closely related to boring or dull. And so I enjoyed that fight. You made the joke, and it's very true, because I said, like, oh, I've bought and seen way worse fights, and you're like, well, that's why, you know. And I was like, that's a fair joke to make, but you know, but regardless, like that, I would disagree with your point of, like, you know, that wasn't a good card to watch. And I haven't gone back to really watch the rest of the card. I know the co-main event ended very early, and I know you wanted to briefly talk about that. The David Morrell knockout. He's calling out David Benavidez now, so they can basically go after their secondary titles, combine their secondary titles, and establish who's going to be the real number one contender to Canelo Alvarez coming up shortly. So that'll be an interesting fight as well. But regardless, I think the biggest dissuader for this card in particular is the fact that it was $85. That's a lot of fucking
of scratch, dude.
That's a lot of fucking money, dude. That's the second highest card I think that they've had up behind the
everybody's like, well, oranges have gone up, so let's fucking, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what's happening.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? They're like, oh, well, milk's up, so
yeah, and it sucks. You know, I mean, nothing's gonna come close to the $100. Well, I shouldn't say that, but anytime soon, nothing's gonna come close to that $100 Mayweather Pacquiao fight amount. But
it's not that it wasn't a bad card. It was a good card. Like I
said,
for
$85.
Co-main event was exactly. That was my point. I'm glad I didn't pay for that shit. You know what I mean? Like, the co-main event was fantastic, dude. Yeah, that guy almost died. You know what I mean? Like, that was super fucking entertaining. But
only in combat sports we say somebody almost died, and we're like, fuck yeah, that was awesome.
Not really, you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it was really I get it, because we have these moments in MMA too. We have these big fights where co-mains are more exciting, prelims are more exciting, and then we watch John Jones and somebody shit the bed for fucking 25 minutes, or seen that
3 minutes and 20 seconds,
or 3 minutes and 7. We've seen Anderson Silva and Damian Maia, two of the greatest entertainers of all time in MMA.
Damian Maia, how dare you say Damian Maia was a great entertainer?
How dare you say he's not?
He's a fascinating watch. He's not entertaining.
Fascinating watch. Okay, you just tried to justify to me a bunch of like bad boxing shit you've watched or whatever. Damian Maia is more entertaining than most of what you just mentioned. So,
but again, it's what you're an enthusiast of. You're
I'm not an enthusiast. It's more entertaining to watch a guy choke another guy unconscious than to watch him fucking jab him for 12 fucking rounds. Tell me that.
Not the Anderson Silva Damian Maia fight, sir.
And that's why I said even two of the greatest entertainers in MMA history can let you down sometimes and shit the bed. So you know what I mean.
Anyway, this was a far better discussion than I came into the show thinking that we would have on this.
Oh, I agree. I definitely agree too. But yeah, listen. Overall, I did think the fight. I'm just fucking around. You know, boxing people don't come out.
I thought you were dead serious when I called you at 5:30 at 6 o'clock in the afternoon and you said that shit.
I knew I was gonna get you riled up. I mean, look, I did. I'm not kidding. I did fall asleep third, fourth, and fifth round.
100% putting it on the weed. I'm putting on and whatever food, good food. Hey, whatever good food they probably help too.
Listen, whatever else you need to justify for boxing,
screaming around you,
go ahead and add it to your list.
Were the kids screaming around you?
No, the kids were all sleeping.
Perfect. You're like, oh, the kids are asleep. I'm gonna sleep too.
I'm gonna call. I'm gonna get a shirt for you. It says boxing. I justify boxing.
I would wear that motherfucking proudly. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move on. Let's get to some UFC. We still got a lot to talk about.
We do, buddy.
UFC was huge this weekend. Just kidding, it wasn't. Just a fight night. A little bit of implications, but a little bit of a small card turned into a good card. If you haven't seen the card, quit while you're ahead. Go take a look at it. But if not, spoilers ahead. Look out. Okay, so we got main card Sergey, my boy Pavlo, my boy Pavlo from Pavlovich from Mother Russia against Curtis Blades. You know, we talked about it. You know, we talked about what could possibly happen. I predicted this exactly to the T, that these boys were going to come in and say, fuck that wrestling shit. We're boxers now. And they fucking slung it out. And it was great.
A stupid decision by Curtis Blades.
But let me tell you, my breakdown of the fight is basically Blades lost by not wrestling. It wasn't that Pavlo was great.
He was great.
He's awesome. What he always does. He did exactly. He is who we thought he was. He 100%. Is exactly who we thought he was, and he came in and did what he's done to every other opponent. Curtis Blades and his entire team seemed to not get that memo or ever watch him fight before because they just tried to fucking brawl with him. No. You know, and Blades,
that was never going to end well.
You know, to Blades' defense, you know, every time he goes in there and double legs and wrestles, all he does is get shit on by us and the rest of the MMA world. And we go, we don't want to watch you fight for a title. So at least the guy went out on his fucking shield and he went out there and tried to fight. I hope the UFC gives him his creds for that. If this was Pride or One or Ryzen or any other respectable fucking organization in the world, he'd get recognized for that. But UFC probably won't. But anyway, I do. And I really appreciated that out of Curtis Blades. It definitely provided for fireworks in the main event. And
all 3 minutes of it.
All 3 minutes of it, dude, because Pavlo said what and cracked with that left hand.
Yeah.
Just cracked Curtis.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, look, Blades has been good to hit so many times, dude.
Perfectly under, right on the chin.
Yeah.
That was a great punch.
Russian hammer, dude. Thank God they're not wasting this guy on the war. You know what I'm saying? Oh, thanks, God. Putin. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like this guy, he's got title implications all over him. The only thing I got to say about it, and I'll let you, give you your take. At the end of the fight, they were interviewing him and he said, now I've stopped Blades' takedowns. What have you got to say now? Hey, buddy. No, you didn't.
He went for one.
He went for one. It was a bullshit one.
Yeah.
He didn't really go for a double leg Curtis Blades takedown.
No, he shot out of desperity. Didn't work out.
Exactly. It was already done.
I guess I'm going to have to keep standing.
I get it. I get what he's saying. He should roll with that confidence for sure. But do not mistakenly roll forward with that confidence against a Mr. John Jones, because that will, or even a fucking like a Francis Ngannou, that would fuck you up, dude. You know what I mean?
Like, Jones, you know what Jones has to do to win that fight? Run away and lose the round in round one. Just run. Just fucking run. Because we don't know what the fuck is going to happen for the rest of the 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Just eat the L on the first round. Just run like a bitch. And then come round 2. And then let's see. Then the fight starts in round 2.
Listen, as much as I am not a fan of Mr. John, I've got to say that I don't think he's got to run. He's got to stand there and just punch 1s and 2s, and he will put Pavlo out. You know what I mean? And Pavlo needs to stay away from Mr. John.
And his side kicks to the knee. He's never faced a
side kick, the oblique kicks.
Oblique kicks. He's never faced guys.
Nope. But I'd like to see him against Mr. Gone.
Yeah,
I'd like
I
to
was
see
just
him
about to say
against.
that. That's
You
the
know what
real
I mean?
test.
That's
A
the
real
real
test would
test
be him
right
against
there.
Cyril Gane. If you could beat Cyril Gane,
Well, hold on. Don't take this away from Blades. Blades is a real fucking test. This was a real test. Gone is the oath keeper that like you shall not pass. That is the test.
I would disagree in the fact that we didn't get the real test was wrestling Curtis Blades.
No,
not
because Pablo has
Curtis
wrestling. We don't need to know what Pablo can do on the ground. We already know that.
It's not really as tested though. It's not very tested.
It's tested against every guy in the division besides Blades. What do you
He's
mean?
won 6 straight knockouts in the first round.
He's wrestled in almost every damn fight to get that. He's wrestled against almost every guy, dude. That's why we know he's got it all. That's why we know he's got it all. Listen, he's definitely shown more defensive wrestling chops, but given his background, we've got no reason to believe he doesn't have the same offensive stuff. Mm-hmm. He's just falling in love with his left hand with like all these wrestlers.
But the other thing also is the defensive wrestling from the, or let me phrase that, bottom wrestling. His opponent bottom wrestling. We haven't seen that much. And that's another test that he needs to clear.
That's fair. But I don't think Blades would have given him very much of that.
Yeah, he's not an excellent bottom.
Would have been clinching and a lot of sides. I feel like a lot of
that's
side
where we
control.
thought it was gonna shit the bed.
A lot of half. That's
where we predicted like if that happens, it's gonna shit the bed.
And it would have, but I'm glad it didn't.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Easy one.
Yeah. So Sergey, I'd like to see him fight Gane. Blades. I feel like it's one of those where the UFC, I don't think they could afford to get rid of anyone at heavyweight, in my opinion. Like, not a single fucking person. Blades can stay in the fucking division for another 6 years, dude, and just keep fucking.
He'll be the
heavyweight. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, he still beats fucking.
The UFC
he still beats most of these guys.
The UFC can't afford to lose anybody at heavyweight, but the UFC most likely in the next no more than 2 years are gonna lose Stipe and John.
I got it. I agree with you. That's okay. I got it though. I got it. Because you know why? There's a lot of fresh blood in the heavyweight division,
and they're all in one FC.
I've got Pavlo's next fight. I do, and it's not gone. It's not gone because Gane's out. I forgot. Gane's hurt. Pavlo, when Aspinall comes back, Pavlo should fight fucking Aspinall if John won't fight him.
I think Aspinall does not want that fight. Aspinall wants a warm up before he takes that fight.
That fight would be fire.
It would be fire, but Aspinall should take
anyone can win that fight. Anyone can win that fight.
I agree.
That could be a hammer. Just anyone.
I agree. But if I was Aspinall, I would not take that fight first. No,
dude. I want to. Before we move on, I just want to say this, okay? And you're 100% right. In the next 2 years, we lose John. We lose Miocic. We might lose Blades. We're losing Volkov. We might lose Lewis. We might lose Tuivasa. However, Pavlovich, Blades might stay and become a senior. Aspinall, Spivak, Rosenstruck is still new. He got his chance early. Yeah. He got floored by a much superior fucking beast of a guy in Francis Ngannou. Yep. He's got a lot more fights ahead of him. Marcin Tybura is a beast. Jaltin Almeida is not bad. Dude, Chris Dukakis is fucking mad. Yeah. There, Blagov, Ivanov, there's a lot of guys coming from the Russian
sambo. A lot of great fights.
A lot of good fights, but a lot of these guys are developing right now. We're going to definitely have a little bit of a dead period.
Ivanov's a little old.
The future of the heavyweight division, I'm happy about. I mean, that's a lot of good matchups right there,
I mean, compared to the rest of the fucking UFC, though. I mean, the only thing, bro, honestly, the only thing.
Well, okay, hold on. That's not fair. You can't ever compare the heavyweight to the rest of the UFC division. You can't compare the heavyweight division to the rest of the UFC.
Like literally, the only division
completely unfair. We're only talking about the dinosaur slower than drilling oil in fucking Canada. Fucking the only thing that's heavyweight division, dude.
The only thing worse is the women's bantamweight division because there's no fucking parity. That's the only thing that's worse.
No, dude, the 115 non-existent division. That's the only thing that's worse. I'm telling you, they have.
What do you mean? The 115 women's division is fucking.
No,
pretty
the
good.
115 men's division that doesn't
There's-
exist. That's fucking how bad. That's the level. Look, I'm just talking about the future of the heavyweight division.
One
As far,
because no other division, no other org has a 115.
I'm making a joke.
Oh.
The John. I'm just saying that once, like you're saying, once these guys take off, the future of the heavyweight division, it's not in shambles. It's not. I think it'll be okay. I think
It'll
it's
level
actually
up and it'll
exciting.
come up.
No, I think it'll actually be exciting with all those names. Plus, you're gonna get interjects. You're gonna get guys once John and all come off. The UFC is gonna have the room in their budget to fish want more of these guys from one. They're just not trying to get any of those guys right now either.
Because they would beat their guys.
Maybe.
You're the one who says all the time, and I agree with you. The heavyweights and one would fucking murder most of these guys.
I say all the time that it's not a given that UFC guys would win those matchups. That's what I say. I don't say that they would lose or that one or these guys are superior. But if you look at the historical matchups,
heavyweight.
If you look at historical matchups of Pride and all this shit when it happened, it just never happened how people thought it happened. It's always a much harder thing than people realize. And the same thing with, Shadri will tell you. Call Shadri, ask him. Be like, yeah, keep sending those guys over, Dana.
So many. Hold on a second. Featherweight, bantamweight. I think it's going.
But we got to move on.
Fuck. I can't even athlete rankings. Where the fuck is there not a page 2?
Bro, I thought this from the guy. I always have the rankings.
No, I'm looking at ONE FC's rankings. I wanted to do a compare and contrast real quick.
All right, man.
I can't fucking. Do you want me to share my screen?
ONE FC has bro. You don't have to explain it to me. I've been on their website plenty of times.
I'm like,
this shit's atrocious. Might as well throw him in the fucking trash with Bellator, bro. Bellator. Hey, by the way, Bellator, you haven't even fucking updated your card from Friday. It's Monday. Most people are gonna watch this by Tuesday and Wednesday. You haven't even updated your fucking, like, when you go look to see the results, they ain't no results.
No.
So the fuck?
I had to go Wikipedia to find this bitch.
Yeah, you do.
Oh no, I don't. It's not even up here.
All right.
What in that? I think they take this straight off of they take this straight off the website. They don't even have heavyweight rankings. This is fucking ridiculous. All right, let's move on. ONE FC let me fucking down big time just now.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, dude. ONE FC let us down big time and also lost all of our viewers. So, all right, moving on. Co-main event. Let's go. Co-main event. Let's go. As the new Mario does not say. Okay. What does he say? Let's go. All right, I'll stop. All right. The co-main event. Middleweight division. We had Brad Tavares versus Bruno Silva. You know me, I like me some Brad Tavares.
We both did.
Didn't go well. I mean, very similar to our boy Curtis Blades. Did not wrestle a fuck. Didn't really. You know
what was interesting? I
didn't
thought
really
Brad
listen.
Tavares, Brad Tavares had the upper hand in a lot of that round. I thought he was going to win the round if he would escape the round before he ate that fucking hand. That combo, I should say, but I had him winning the round. Well, I had him winning the round up until that point.
That's a little.
He had Bruno Silva backpedaling on certain shots. He was the aggressor coming in.
Bro, he was getting cracked left and right. What are you talking about? Bruno Silva was landing counters like he was throwing. He was like, Bruno Silva was like, bow, like just fucking cracking him with power.
But still, again, if you're going based off of
so much quicker too. I mean, he was so much faster than Tavares. To me, I don't know. Maybe we watched two different fights. To me, the fight that I saw, it was clear that Tavares should have tried to initiate grappling early on.
Oh, I would agree with that.
Like Bruno Silva had timing. He's a kickboxer. He had timing, footwork, and he had timing, distance, and just speed. His speed and power on him. You know what I mean? Like Tavares definitely kept it interesting.
I thought Bruno Silva was being very patient, and that's why Brad Tavares he was on the forward foot, which is why I was getting him around.
But he was baiting him.
That's fair.
Yeah, he was baiting him. I mean, it was one, as like I said, that's his strength. So it's one of those other things where maybe he was just trying to be exciting. And Brad Tavares has come in there and he has smoked guys before, but we've seen this from him as well in the past where he goes in there. I can think of when he fought Yancy Medeiros, like going after certain things probably he shouldn't, and not relying back on those fundamentals, those MMA fundamentals, getting him to that got him to this dance, that got him to this stage. Especially against a guy like Bruno Silva, who obviously has got the power to just fucking put your lights out. I mean, he put Brad Tavares on Q Street. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, he spin him. You know what I mean? So, and I just, I understand what you're saying about I think as far as output's concerned, Tavares had more output for sure. But I feel like that was part of like Bruno Silva was like, oh, cool. I'll just sit back and counter you. Cause he had him. He had him early, you know?
Yeah.
So good for Bruno Silva. I mean, in the middleweight division, you know, there's a lot of room for him.
They booked Chris Curtis's next fight already, but I would love to see him and Curtis.
Well, I mean, there's Andrew Muniz and Brandon Allen. You know what I mean? Like I honestly, anybody between Jack Hermanson and 15, I'm cool with, besides Calvin Gastelum. But
no, Gastelum's on a run.
Yeah, he's 11 though. He's on a far run. He's got some more running to do.
Got a little bit to go. Oh, speaking of middleweight division, we should talk about that news real quick when we get to the end about Duplessis and
definitely we will. I forgot to mention it too before. Pavlo got the performance of the night. Pavli versus Blades. They both got the extra 50K. And so did Tavares versus Silva. That was also a performance of the night. So glad to see that they got an extra 50K. Thanks, Uncle Dana.
Here's a 50K for going to sleep.
Yeah, thanks, Uncle Dana, for the extra 50K. That's awesome. Okay. And for Brad Tavares, you know,
back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board for sure. For sure. He's got, I don't really have any next fight for him right now.
Not me neither.
Okay, well, moving on. In the lightweight division,
no push-ups to be served. No push-ups to be served for either of us.
No push-ups to be served, which honestly, kind of bullshit in my opinion. I think something should happen, but I get it. You know what I mean? We don't have. This is where it would be nice to have a producer who could come in and be like, nah. There's still gotta be something. You know, something. You know, but no produce. Don't see him. Man, what a letdown. What a letdown. I thought
Bobby
this
Green
was going
winning
to be
the fight.
the
Bobby
most
Green
exciting.
was winning the fight.
Of course he was.
Winning the fight.
Of course he was.
Gordon, had he survived, I agree with Angel's point that there were flashes where he could have tried to like figure it out very slowly, but it was very clear that Bobby Green was ahead. Accidental fucking head.
I agree 100% with that. If this had been, I actually think if this had been a 5-round fight in a year from now in Jared Gordon's career, fantastic fucking fight.
And Jared Gordon, I think, would come out ahead.
Oh no. I think it would just be a good fight. I think Bobby Green still gets it done, unanimous decision. But yeah, I agree with you. Going back to what you're saying, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. He was on his way. He was on his way to another performance. Good.
He was piecing up Jared Gordon very slowly, busting him up, and then that accidental headbutt on a elbow strike.
Headbutted.
Oh yeah, it was not intentional, but it was a ram. That was a battering.
It was a fucking ram.
That was a army breach ram in the Taliban.
He was trying to breach the Taliban with that fucking headbutt. Yo, dude, just fucking ran that bitch into his head.
Yeah, Gordon's like, oh shit,
dude, that headbutt landed so hard. Yeah, it landed like a Katusha rocket, dude.
He thought he hit him with the elbow, the head, and he followed him up with strikes, finished him off with the strikes. But you know, credit to the Nevada State Athletic Commission for once.
Listen, a lot of people were giving, 100%. And you know, a lot of people were giving Bobby Green shit for going. He thought the elbow landed, idiots. Okay, he thought the elbow fucking landed. If you look, he threw, and his elbow went, and then his head in the flash of a fight. That's literally like a millisecond, dude.
You don't know.
And so, and if you've ever hit your top of your head on somebody, dude, you can hit someone, especially in a fight. You can hit someone and not even realize. There's been tons of times where
adrenaline right now that they both have.
You cut yourself. You after a fight, you're feeling your head. And you're like, wait, I got blood. Think about it. You know what I mean? Like, so he didn't even realize. He thought he hit him with the elbow clean and just, dude, I felt so bad for him because he believed earnestly he was getting that performance of the night. that he'd won the fight, he was dancing, dude. And I mean, Joe Martinez even got on, and I knew that wasn't right from the beginning because the headbutt. But it was like,
whoa. He's like, we're gonna take a moment.
Yeah,
he stopped himself. I definitely agree that I think they both should both get win money, especially Bobby Green, given what happened. I definitely think Bobby Green should get his win money for this.
It's an overall factor of the problem with MMA pay, but I agree 100%. They're not going to do that, but they should.
No,
they've done it in that's what I don't understand. They do it in instances where guys miss weight or something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Surprised if Dana White forwards him some under the table money.
I gotta let my dog in.
You know, but I mean, other than that,
he probably does, but it's still at the same point where it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it was a no contest. It wasn't anybody else's fault, but at the same time, why are these guys fighting for win-loss anyway? Does the UFC make less money if they lose? I don't get it.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not at all.
It's not fair to have that, you ready for some gun? It's not fair to have that on both guys, and every time a guy loses, he can only feed his family half the wages.
Yeah, dude. I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, not super fair, in my opinion, to hold that to both guys. And Bobby Green's shouting after the fucking fight because he starts realizing I need my fucking money.
Yeah,
And Jared Gordon said the same thing.
It's not the record, it's the money.
It's not the record, it's the money, because they're prize fighting. They ain't fighting for fucking, whatever the bullshit rankings are. Yep. And Jared Gordon even said the same thing. I spent a lot of money on this camp, you know what I mean, to get ready. I hired a lot of high-profile boxers and sparring partners to emulate Bobby Green, who is a fucking problem, who's a nightmare for 99% of the division, I would say, boxing-wise. And you got to prepare for a guy like that. And that sucks for both guys. I hope that they do get compensated.
Yeah.
But,
and they need to run it back. That's the natural course. It has to be run back now.
I'm okay if it doesn't get run back, because honestly, I felt like I said, we saw what was going to happen.
I can't keep calling for Bilal and fucking and Leon to run back if I'm not going to say this should be run back either.
Okay. We're going out of principle. 100%. I just think that, Bobby Green, there's other guys that he could fight.
That's another fight we should talk about if we can. The Bilal and fucking Gobert.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's maybe get to it.
So much fucking going on.
So much to get to. Let's go ahead and move on then. All right, we got next. We got in the welterweight division. We got Jeremiah Wells versus Matthew Semelsberger. Dude, let me tell you, if you guys haven't seen this fight, go back right now.
Yeah, you told me to go watch. You told me to go watch it before the show, and I did.
Bananas from the first minute, first second of the fight. There's a in the first second of the fight, Semelsberger's hits connects with Wells immediately and sends him.
I'm very surprised this fight wasn't stopped at least once by fucking Mark Goddard. Very surprised that didn't happen, because there were a couple times, especially I think it was in round 2.
There was
in round 2, Jeremiah Wells got fucking cracked with a shot and he fell face first into the cage.
But he responded immediately.
That's what's stated. And Semelsberger's retarded. He fucking, instead of trying to finish him on the feet, I'm gonna go to the ground. I'm on top. Now I'm not.
Bro.
Now I'm getting beat up. Now I can't get up, and I'm getting beat up.
He was being overwhelmed. Let me say this. Let me just say this is my take on the fight. Wells is a fucking madman. Okay, he's a madman, because in the first hit, after he gets cracked, he doesn't retreat. He fucking runs clear into the fire, bro. He's the guy who runs into the building. He is the danger. He is the one who knocks.
He got burned.
And he burned. But, bro.
He's like, oh, shit, fire. I'm going to run in. Ceiling collapses on him anyway.
But he was just like, I'll find a way out. And he dug his ass out, and he fucking grabbed Semelsberger and did the most beautiful double leg. He just fucking, boom, fucking, and I want to say
he had one in the third round, or I think it was the third round. That one was lovely.
Oh, he had one in every round that was really good, but he had a very explosive one. Paul Feldman,
Feldman.
Feldman. Oh, what's his name?
You're thinking of the judge, Glenn Feldman.
Paul Felder. Sorry, yeah. Felder was talking about in the gym. That's his thing, when he starts grabbing guys and just starts that beautiful. And really, there was one part at the end of the first that he did it. He was trying to get it in the beginning of the fight and he just couldn't get it towards the end of the, first round, the end of the first round. Jeremiah Wells disengages in the clinch and just starts unloading fucking hooks into the body, into the head. And it just forces Semelsberger's up. And then he just grabs the leg and there's about a half second of delay. And then just a dump and a slam, dude, up against the cage, into the cage, which is a lot of confidence because, he's putting him on the cage, already a disadvantage on the ground, but not for Jeremiah Wells. I mean, he's just so strong.
He's like, I'm going to keep him there and I'm just going to beat on him.
He's like, it's cool. I'll just hold you down and beat the hell out of you with some elbows.
I said on constant on so many of these shows, get up,
dude. And in the will to survive, dude. And like you said, again in the second round, he got cracked. Just reminded me of Lieben, though. It was just like he got cracked,
bro, especially in round 2.
Came on,
for that second, bro. His body shut off. Restart, full fucking send.
I'll never forget when Vanderlei cracked Lieben, and it was just like, oh no, not Vanderlei, because Lieben came back like the goddamn Terminator. He was just like, oh, go, and just murdered the axe murderer. Yeah, and that's what it wasn't as dramatic, but Jeremiah Wells, if it was animated like an anime, it would be
that would be splendid.
I choose you,
that would be splendid, bro.
Literally,
the amount of especially with anime when they fucking do the inner monologues as the guy's going down, they're like, oh, my brain. Where I'm like, this is all happening within a millisecond. You're going through all these processes in your brain.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been fantastic if they animated that. That would be fucking amazing.
Yeah. And in the third, like you were saying, dude, there was a point where Jeremiah Wells had completed after that beautiful double leg. He was on him. And, I don't know if he was just, Schlumberger had just shrimped very well or, or Wells' grip was loose. He was actually Schlumberger was able to kick him completely, like frog kick him off of right off and lift him, Wells up in the air. Wells so athletic and just so comfortable in that position of the fight.
Yeah.
Just fucking linebacker slammed him back onto the ground. It just was like, nah, dude, I'm cool right here. And, that was pretty much the synopsis of the fight. That moment right there. That's pretty much what the whole fight was, and it was very entertaining. Yeah, I had Jeremiah Wells winning by unanimous decision.
Yeah,
judges saw a little differently. They gave him a split.
In hindsight, I did too. Yeah,
well, it's like you said at the beginning. You could have seen it going any way, and
no, I didn't.
The judges kind of agreed with you.
I don't. I didn't say that I could see it going any way. I just didn't know how to grade it, but in the grand scheme of things, based off of what I always preach of like ground control, they should give credit for ground control. You got to give it to Wells based off of that, and on top of the fact when he was in ground control,
an overall octagon control,
he was doing stuff on the ground and he was landing significant shots on the ground. And that's always the key, and that's why it makes total sense that he won the fight in grand scheme of things.
All right, sounds good. And that'll about wrap it up for the main card. There was a couple all right ones on the prelims. You guys can go ahead and check that out. But UFC, good. It was a good fight night. We've got, this weekend coming up. It's another fight night. It's Song versus Simon. So, and it's a UFC Apex card.
That's going to still be a good fucking fight though, man. That main event's going to be fucking great.
No. The main event, Song Yadong. Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be a great main event.
It's going to be a great, but at the same time, it is kind of a coming out show for Ricky Simone. You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
The rest of the card, we don't need to break it down.
It's not.
It's not super exciting.
It's not appealing.
But hey, guys, who knows?
That's normally the cards that are like, oh, so many bangers.
The MMA gods give us what they will. Hey, 2000s fans, just shut the fuck up. You get MMA every fucking weekend now. Every weekend. Talking about going from 5 to 6 times a fucking year, 3 to 4 times a year, every fucking weekend. So, I know some of it's boring, but hey, at least we got something to choose from.
Twice a month, if that. Once a month, twice a month.
That'd be too late to stop that train now.
Who you got?
Well, for what, the main event? You want me to predict? I'll just predict the main event. Oh, I got Song Yadong for sure.
I got Simone.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, let's move on to Bellator. I did not watch the entire card.
I did, so I'll be happy to
You did
break
watch
this
the
down with you.
card. I know you broke it down. You know, we'll start with the main event, which I did watch. Look, Rufion Stotts has been their guy. They've invested a lot in him. You know, it's kind of crazy, but this shit happens. This is why it's MMA. You get Patchy Mix, who is the boyfriend of Tatiana Suarez, and he is, you know, a very good striker. Was completely dismissed, not talked about, didn't hardly mention his name in the entire, you know, build up of this fight. And he goes in there and fucking KO Stotts with the best one of the best knees I've seen in Bellator history.
I almost thought that wasn't on purpose, but the more I looked at it, I was like, no, that was definitely on purpose.
Oh, he caught him. He was timing it.
Great.
He was timing it. Oh no, he caught him, dude. Yeah, that was a deserved KO finish. Flawless victory.
Yeah,
for sure. And he with that he wins the interim and he also wins the Grand Prix. So
double belt.
Fucking A, you know what I mean?
Double belt,
double belt. So yeah, but I thought it was a fantastic fight. I didn't think Rufion Stotts did anything wrong. I just thought he got caught. You know what I mean? He just got caught. I hope they do the rematch. I mean, they'd be dumb not to.
At some point, yeah.
You know, no, immediately. I mean, you got to have Rufion
Stotts.
Not
immediate.
Not
immediate.
Why? Who's this Patchy Mix guy?
Patchy Mix is going to be facing
tournament.
It was the tournament final, and Patchy Mix he only had the interim title because it's going to be Patricio and Sergio for the real belt. Winner of that immediately faces Patchy to unify the belts. So that's why it's not immediate.
Got you.
So Rufion Stotts should 100% be rooting for Patchy Mix if he wants to try and avenge that loss. But regardless, either of those three fights with Rufion Stotts, that'll be fucking tremendous. Any of those three guys, that'll be fucking great. Yeah. So, and that's why you mentioned it's got huge implications because of that. That fight coming up in June in Chicago. So, but I mean, hey, like I said, credit to him. He won $1 million, got his double belts. He made it. He made it.
Definitely made it. And people know his name now. The entire MMA community knows his name, other than being Tatiana Suarez's man.
So, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Really?
That's him and they're together.
Oh shit.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's what he was known for before. That's the only reason people knew him. He was the what's his face? Who's Pace Van Zandt's fucking boy?
He was the Austin Vanderford.
He was the Austin Vanderford. Fucking
Bro, he gets to clap those cheeks though. Ooh, you know he clapped them.
Tatiana,
lovely.
I would. Hey, in my opinion,
lovely boy.
A lot. That's an upgrade to my opinion. But all right. Moving on, let's get to the co-main event. Ilima McFarland defeats Kana Wannabe via split decision.
Wannabe? Wow.
Watanabe. Sorry, I just ran it right out. Maybe they my bad. It's my fault. Okay. Watanabe.
These fools are coming after your ass now if you call her
I know, dude. But to be fair, Watanabe was a little bit of a wannabe. She did fall short. What was your breakdown of that? I didn't get to see. I only got to see like the first minute, and then I had to do something else.
So McFarland came out really well in round one. She set the tone early. However, in round two, I thought Watanabe did fantastic on the ground, was more controlling, more effective for sure. It ended up being a split decision, if I recall correctly. But round three was really close. I thought Watanabe did more because, again, it was more on the ground. McFarland had more shots, but I thought Watanabe did a really good job to neutralize those where she wasn't in really too much danger. She did suffer a cut above, I believe, her left eye, if I recall correctly. Might have been her right. But she definitely did suffer a cut. I don't think that hampered her too much, though, in the grand scheme of things. And I just thought overall for the fight, I thought she was a lot more effective than McFarland was. All things considered, McFarland was in her home country, basically, of Hawaii. She had the grand entrance coming in, and I loved her entrance because it highlighted domestic abuse and sex trafficking for Hawaiian girls. So that's definitely something that should be noted as well. So she had the grand entrance. Yeah, her entrance it paid homage to that. She had her homage was they sung like a culture song that's related to like the Hawaiian princess warrior.
She always has a pretty big entrance that I know
Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So she got a great
awesome.
entrance.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, but all things considered, if I'm honest, like I said, what's it called? I just thought she was a little flat. I thought Watanabe wanted it more. I thought she did more on the ground. She wasn't in any real clear danger whatsoever, which is, McFarland's like thing. Like, she puts people in danger early and capitalizes on that, and she failed to do that against Watanabe. Like I said, I thought Watanabe did what she was supposed to do, and if it was anywhere other than Hawaii, I think she would have gotten that decision.
Really? So you think she lost the fight?
I do think so. It was a close fight, but I think she lost.
I have to go back and watch.
Very narrow, but I think she lost.
I think I think a lot of people were saying that she had maybe lost the decision.
Yeah,
it was controversial.
Yeah, it's a bit controversial. That's why I wanted to highlight it in part.
It was split. It wasn't like it
was split. And Watanabe looks so like gutted when they read it off.
Jesus. I was about to say, let me try to find the fucking the Bellator scorecards, but given how hard you could even find, how much trouble you had earlier trying to find fucking results, I'm not even gonna try.
Bother. You're gonna waste our time. Don't bother.
Let's move on. All right. Well, there's another Hawaiian on this card, Yancy Medeiros, versus Charlie Lira. He defeats him via submission, rear naked choke in the first round. It's also, I believe, the Bellator debut for Yancy Medeiros. So.
No, I think he fought once before.
Okay. Well, it's definitely the debut of him fighting in Hawaii. So that is what.
No, I feel like he did fight in Hawaii
for Bellator.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it was on the first Hawaii
second card. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Smart. But yeah, so Yancy Medeiros defeats. That rear naked was slick too.
It was a very. Did you saw the fight?
I think he's. Yeah, I saw the highlights. I think he's gonna have
a fun fight.
Not an easy time. But I think he's going to have a good time in Bellator. You know what I mean?
The thing is, he's just old. He's a veteran. He's a grizzled veteran.
He's not that old. 32, 33.
Is he really that young?
Yeah, dude. For Bellator, he's fucking.
I did not know that.
He's 19.
He was older.
For Bellator, he's a teenager. I mean, dude.
No. So what is Aaron Pico, a baby?
Yeah, he's a toddler. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Aaron Pico is still in preschool, dude. Hasn't even graduated. He hasn't even graduated preschool. He's still in kindergarten. Yeah.
Well, he's calling for the belt next, so we'll see.
He's calling for the kindergarten belt. But good for Yancy Medeiros. Like you said, he is an older dog. I think Bellator. He's not going to be going for title runs, but
he's going to be the more entertaining Benson Henderson. And how that played out.
Hopefully, a little more success.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Aaron Pico versus James Gonzalez.
This was a great fight. Pico was coming off of his shoulder injury, so there were question marks surrounding that. He did not hesitate to throw. Where Brian Garcia hesitated in rounds 3 through 5, Aaron Pico did not hesitate a single iota of that fight. The body shots this man was landing on James Gonzalez were fucking so rough. And it's credit to James. He was a fucking warrior. He stood in there. He ate them. He ate those shits, and he kept fucking coming. He kept coming. Never once quit in that fight. He knew he was down. He knew he wasn't connecting. He was wildly swinging at punches at times. Couldn't stop the takedowns. Pico took him down, I swear to God, at least 4 or 5 times. But he was a dog in that fight, and it was really entertaining. He was a dog, and it was entertaining. Some people may say it wasn't as entertaining as I'm making it sound, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Pico looked tremendous. And James Gonzalez is a tough son of a bitch. And this was, keep in mind, this was for Pico, his original opponent went down to injury. So he took this fight on 1 week notice, both those guys. And for them to both have those showings, I thought was tremendous. It was a good, solid opening to the card. Pico's their baby. Rafael Stotts was their baby too. He lost, but Pico, they've been really him. And out of all of their like young guns that they're really trying to push, what's it called? He's really the one that's standing out the most, all things considered.
For sure.
Hit a slide, so he's going downhill. Rafael Stotts just hit a road bump there with his L. So literally, it's Pico and McKee. Those are their 2 babies right now in Bellator FC completely. And like I said, Pico's shown.
Because Stotts just got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, Stotts. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, Pico's shown.
Pico lost before, so he's he doesn't have the same allure that he had.
Yeah, and that's something
he had that Conor McGregor type of like.
So the commentator he mentioned that they're like, oh, he came in like I'm gonna be the youngest champion ever. He came in with that John Jones bravado.
He still said he's gonna do that.
I believe he's gonna be a champion. I thoroughly believe.
He still said he's gonna do it before he's 25.
He's 26.
Oh, no, he's not. He said he was. He said he was. He's 24. He said he was going to do it. He still said he's like, because that's the quote. He said he was going to be a champion before he was 25 or something like that, like John Jones. So, I mean, I thought so. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure.
96 to 26. He 23. Yeah, he's 26 right now, dude.
Oh, well, then what's the 25? What did he say he was going to be a champion by? I thought it was 25. He just said the other day he's still going to become a champion by maybe, what did he say, 27?
I don't know, but
I'm going to be a champion by 30.
I believe it.
Yeah, for sure. If you're not
on that.
If he's not a champion by 30 in fucking Bellator, fucking go to fucking PFL. All right, let's move on. Mads Burnell.
I didn't see the rest of the fight, so I don't know.
Oh, okay, never mind. Cool. We won't.
I didn't see the rest of these. I just saw the main card. That's it. Max Burnell's a big fight. Max Burnell's a big fight, but I didn't see.
I thought you. Yeah, no, it is.
No, I only saw the main card, dude. I only saw the main card. Didn't see anything else. That wasn't part of the main card.
That's crazy. Aaron Pico versus James Gonzalez. Mads Burnell versus Justin Gonzalez. Back-to-back Gonzalez.
It's a common name.
It is a common name. Okay. Moving on. So that about wraps up all of our fight talk. We got boxing, UFC, and fucking Bellator all done.
Hey, and fuck PFL.
And fuck PFL. And we'll talk, I mean, I know bare knuckle happened this weekend, but I haven't watched it yet. So
I didn't even know
I'm going to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Didn't know that. We have to remember to put on our calendars to watch.
I'm honestly thinking about. Yeah. Oh no, that's on the 27th. That's coming. That's on Friday. So.
Damn! I'm recording. Fuck.
I'm watching that for sure, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, I almost thought about talking to you about doing a separate little thing just for BKFC, because you know what I mean. I feel like we got this for UFC, Bellator 1, and now I want to almost do another one just to cover bare knuckle.
But the thing about it is, the thing about it is
some of the sideshow shit.
It's very
like
rare.
That fight circus thing that Angel showed us. That shit's hilarious, bro.
Do it with him.
Oh, come on. What the fuck's wrong with you?
I'm not doing that shit. I'm not.
Why? What do you mean?
No, I'm not gonna fucking give credit to that. You're crazy.
Why? What's wrong with that? What's the difference between that and some of the wrestling shows you watch?
I know what I get with wrestling, and you know what? I don't. A lot of the bullshit I see in wrestling, I don't like it either.
That's fair. I don't. Well, why don't you like the fight circus thing? What? If
I'm gonna watch fights,
what grinded your gears about that?
I want to watch legitimate fights. I don't want to see sideshow bullshit. I don't want to see midgets. I don't want to see fucking any of that other crazy shit. I don't give a fuck. Good. There's obviously a fan base out there for them. God bless them. Get your dolly.
You think that you're not doing that podcast? You're out of your fucking mind. You just talked yourself into doing the podcast. You just showed me exactly why I'm going to do that podcast with you.
Good. And I hope you find success.
We will. All right. Let's move on and talk about some news. Big fucking news. I haven't even talked about my favorite fight of the weekend. My favorite fight by far was Jake Paul fighting himself in. I'm sorry, it was Nate Diaz. Hold on. Okay, my favorite fight of the weekend by far was Nate Diaz fucking choking out fucking a dude.
Great value, Logan Paul,
into a fucking lawsuit, bro. That was hilarious. Nate Diaz loses fucking KO to a fucking lawsuit.
Not only that, breaking news as of about 4 hours ago. He choked out fake Logan Paul into fucking being on the New Orleans most wanted list.
Bro,
basically,
we couldn't have fucked up that segment anymore.
You fucked it up.
I did. I shot it and then you finished it off.
Yeah, for real. I'm just like, bro, like you literally just nuked it with, you nuked it with a fucking with a fucking tank ammunition, and I just came to the body and was like, oh, just to make sure, bang.
I got in a tank and I drove it right through the nearest mall and I shot the main battle cannon through the fucking glass ceiling. I fucking did.
And I did and just hit the shattered fucking glass.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
You were like tapping the explosives like the Joker. You're like, what the fuck? Shit, fucking cheap ass technology. That's such a good scene when he walks out and he's all just like, because it's just, I don't know, it kind of almost reminds me of like sometimes the unreliability of military hardware. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Sad things happening in the background for sure. Okay, moving on. Yeah, Nate Diaz.
Ukraine joke off that, but I wasn't going.
I was thinking a similar line. But yeah, Nate Diaz. I mean, dude, look, normally I like him. Normally I talk good, but
normally I don't. So guess who won the pony this time?
You won the pony this time. What a fucking dumbass, though, huh? Dumbass of the fucking year award.
He went off that night.
First off,
you see
this guy walks up. Like hands this,
before you get to
and Nate does this,
bro. Before you get to that, did you see him earlier in the night at like some indie fucking show, and some guy was talking shit to him, and he took a water bottle and fucking pegged him square in the dome?
That's classic Nate Diaz. I'm not mad at that. I'm okay with
the fact that happened, and a few hours later he did this shit. Bro, he's on the wildest weed you can find in New Orleans.
He was not on weed for sure. And he definitely was definitely on some of Stockton's finest. And also was on the most just not giving a fuck day of his life, dude. I forgot about that. You're totally right. He not only KO'd one loss, he not only lost to one lawsuit, he fucking did two in one day. Chael Sonnen can't even do that, bro. That's impressive.
He woke up on the side of the bed that said, "I wish a motherfucker would."
It's cool. He'll be fine. He'll settle out of court with both these clowns.
He'll go back to the UFC and make some money to settle these.
He won't need to do it, bro. He's fine. He's fine now.
Basically, he just lost all his Logan Paul money.
Not even close. He'll settle out of court with these clowns. By the time the lawyers get it, these guys will get fucking 20 grand a piece.
Yeah, but now he's gonna have to do community service. He's gonna have to fucking.
He's not. They're gonna settle. They're gonna settle. Oh well, listen. That's the other breaking news. You kind of mentioned it.
I was trying to segue into it.
The NOPD, New Orleans Police Department, has actually issued a warrant for his arrest. So that's a little bit of a problem. I think a good lawyer. He literally looked at Jorge Masvidal and
said, "Oh, you got in trouble? Hold my beer." That's what he did, straight up.
Good thing he didn't. Yeah, good thing he didn't fucking choke out Kobe Covington.
And the crazy part is we didn't see that shit on like clear video evidence. Bro, this was clear video, as like this was shot in like 1080p right there.
And that's what I'm saying. This guy went up to Nate Diaz like this. Nate goes like, "I'm fighting Connor." Like, oh my God, puts his dukes up, and like just chokes this guy unconscious.
You hear the guy said, he's like, "Oh, Nate Diaz he's a coward. I want him in the octagon for 5 minutes."
That guy's just an idiot.
He literally said, "Oh, I would." He was like, "I would beat the shit out of Nate Diaz."
He's a fucking idiot to begin with, because he's running around making a profession of impersonating fucking Logan Paul, and he looks nothing like him. So I don't fucking an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, personally, my own opinion. Good. Don't fucking walk up. Yeah, exactly. Don't walk up to Nate fucking Diaz in New Orleans on Bourbon Street when you're probably shit-faced yourself and expect. They were both probably hammered as fuck, dude. Yeah, let's be honest. They're both probably hammered as fuck. This guy walks up, acting like he's Logan Paul, and Nate's just like, bro, let's just be honest. Knowing what you know about Nate and his history, he fucking thought that was Logan Paul.
Oh yeah,
that's the funniest thing about all this thing. Bro, he's gonna go to the police, and he's gonna go to the police, and he's gonna answer the press conference, and he's gonna be like, "Yo, I thought that was fucking Logan Paul. I fucked that motherfucker up." Like that's gonna be a story.
Perfect. That's perfect fucking impersonation too. The only thing
that's what is gonna be a story.
The one thing that would have made it the cherry on top is if he would have found that camera guy and looked at him and like, "Jake Paul, you're next, motherfucker, Stockton, bitch." That would have been the cherry on top.
Yeah, that guy's head bounced off the fucking. And let me tell you, I've been on that concrete, that New Orleans street. That shit is not fucking soft. His head bounced off that shit like it didn't bounce. It just thudded. Yeah, it was nasty.
Hilarious, but stupid.
Very stupid. And I by the way, sorry, Sean, but YouTube, what the fuck, dude? I seriously had a hard time finding the actual censored footage of him getting hit because I guess YouTube is not allowing to show graphic content. I mean, should we not even show like UFC highlights or whatever? Like, I don't even.
Well, you can watch. You can watch videos, but you can't watch somebody get knocked out.
Are you gonna fucking flag the NFL when they show fucking highlights of fucking safeties getting murdered by fucking linebackers? I bet not.
Fair, they don't show.
But
I bet they don't. I haven't tried to look it up, but I bet you they don't show like the times where you see somebody's ankle.
Thanks
like,
for streaming us. Thanks for following us on YouTube. Smash them, hit the like, subscribe button. Okay.
MMA for Marks now on a third-party site unknown.
Catch us on Rocket Streaming. Behind a paywall. 50 cents a month. Yeah, no. I definitely don't, and I saw there was a reply video, put out by Jake Paul and Logan Paul. Put those two in fucking jail just for that video. Okay, that shit was atrocious. Oh, it was atrocious. They call themselves content makers. Looks like they were fucking coming off of a 24-hour mushroom bender and fucking just deciding to make a weird ass video in their mom's garage. The fuck, dude. It was just the weirdest shit ever. So yeah, gotta say that. But second, I think it does good for the fight. Just promote the fight and yeah, hopefully Diaz can avoid legal trouble.
What do you think the pay-per-view buy rate's gonna be on that?
500-600K if they're lucky.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
We want 450.
That's fair. Oh, I mean,
under 5.
What I think it'll actually do?
Yeah, I think max 450.
2 to 3.
I'm thinking like 350.
Yeah, that might be tops. That's what I'm saying. They might do 5-6 if they're lucky. You know what I mean? But I think
it's like 450 if they're lucky. I think it's like 325
on a good day. Yeah, but I could honestly easily if they come out and be like, "Yo, it didn't top 175." I mean, like, well, Jake Paul.
Well, no, well, I mean, Jake Paul's last fight on fucking ESPN Plus top fucking what? I think it was like top 275, something like that, 300.
Oh, him and you're right. Yeah, him and Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people, and I gotta say, I kind of agree with it. There's a lot of people that saying that was more about Fury. That was more Fury being, you looked at what John and Tyson Fury did as far as promoting the fight before the fight. There's a lot of interest in that fight from the boxing side. You know what I mean? That brought a lot more eyeballs on it.
Yeah,
I think.
Tommy Fury's ranked by the WBC now. He's in the top 15.
Dude, hey, Tommy Fury came out smelling like rose on that one, huh?
Oh, bro, he was a red penny.
Dude, he's been getting fucking shit on for like 2 years. Ran away from the fight. Or like
it was red penny night for him.
Yeah, he was. Oh, bro, yeah, him and his lady. For sure,
bro. I just wanted to see him knock out. Like, you fucking Dossa, I told you I'd fucking knock you out.
I know it's such a bummer he doesn't talk anything like Tyson.
He doesn't, bro.
He doesn't sound anything like him. Tyson legitimately sounds like he's coming off the street of a gypsy cart, and is like got life problems. Oh yeah, he's got life problems and like fucking Tommy just looks like a glamour kid. Brit. Looks like a YouTuber. You know what I mean? He just looks like he's from lavish life. So
it looks like he was on the fucking
funny, dude. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. I just love that. How can you not love that fucking man, dude?
I know, dude.
Anyway.
That's your man crush?
That's my man crush for boxing, for sure. I mean, I said it. I don't know if I said it on air, but I'll say it. He is by far, I think, the most entertaining man in combat sports in general. Like, if he makes a headline, MMA media is like dropping panties to cover it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as they should. If he ever stepped inside of a cage, it might be one of the most watched fucking MMA fights in all of history.
Like, I would say it would be
like,
it would be him and Ngannou in a cage, 750 minimum.
$1 million. Him and Ngannou in a cage?
Yeah, it's like
that's $1 million. I feel like, but you might be right. 750 on a bad day. Okay, let's move on. We got one more bit of news to talk about before we close this puppy down, which we got to do very soon.
Yeah.
But Ray Borg, I mean, dude, you could not.
I like Ray Borg too, dude.
Like, I love Ray Borg. You how can you not like him? But I gotta read the statement put out by Dominion MMA. Pretty much. So what happened was, for those of you who don't know, Thursday rolls around. Bellator is doing their 24-hour day before weigh-ins for the Friday show in Hawaii. There was some kind of whatever on him getting flights or whatever because of Hawaii or whatever. I get that.
Yeah.
However, this isn't the first time.
No.
Weight issues came up. Didn't look like he was going to make the weight. They offered him the fight at They gave him the fight at 140, right? I believe 140, 145.
I don't know the details. I just saw that.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
I saw Bellator's statement that said due to weight management issues, Ray Borg is off the card, and then follow that by Ray Borg is retired. And I was like, what?
Yeah, he totally retired, but for good reason. So he basically failed to weigh in. They offered him the fight at 140 or 145, I believe. Refused that, and then. Hey, check your messages. And they totally wanted to give him another. They didn't try to cancel the fight on him right away. He kind of came out and made it seem like that was not the case. And he himself said he accepted the fight at 125 because they offered to him at 125, but he didn't ever give him any pushback. So anyway, I don't understand why he would be so inept.
Complete failure,
complete idiocy of his part, and failure of his management team and everything else. Speaking of management team, however, Ali, who is the president of Dominance MMA, put out this statement.
Ali Abdelaziz.
Ali Abdelaziz. Unfortunately, Mr. Borg was not willing to make that weight, resulting in necessary complications for all involved. Given the circumstances, as well as our own embarrassment, we can no longer in good faith represent how now our former client, or we can now represent our former, no longer represent things. We no longer represent our former client, but wish him the best in his future endeavors. Effective immediately, Dominance MMA will no longer serve as representation for Ray Borg. We would like to apologize to Bellator MMA, American Top Team, Kyoji Horiguchi, and for the unprofessionalism displayed this week that has forced us to make this decision. All parties involved did their best to make that fight happen, including the late offer to book the matchup at 135 pounds. And we thank everyone for those efforts. Unfortunately, Mr. Borg was not willing to make that weight, resulting in unnecessary complications for all involved. Given the circumstances, as well as our own embarrassment, we can no longer. Dude, they say embarrassment fucking twice.
I was gonna say, you no longer yourself again, or no?
No, the statement. We can no longer, in good faith, represent our now former client, but wish him the best future. Oh, I read the same thing. My bad. Yes, I almost made him say it twice, but they basically may have said it in twice. I have never even heard. I've never heard
professional. That's a professional. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. That's exactly what that was.
That's a professional. You shit the fucking bed, dude. You know, like seriously. And he did. I don't know what else to say other than good luck in whatever you're gonna do. Like they said, I bet he'll fight eventually. Nobody wants to hear him talk.
How many people want to put up with him on their fucking roster?
He can't even make the weight. Well, how you know he's even gonna make the event? How you know he's even gonna study for the thing? I mean, I don't know. Maybe on a small circuit, something. Maybe he can work his way up or something like that. But to be honest with you, that statement, that's a bit. That's what I'm saying. That bridge you just burned with Ali. Oh, bro, you're gonna have to do a lot to fucking climb back. So he right after that he retired. So probably a good call. Probably a good call by him.
How can you? I did not want to take the weight at 135, dude. How overweight are you?
He must have been huge. That's what I'm thinking. He must have been.
Did you not train?
Yeah.
Could you not have had somebody like come up with some bullshit excuse like I got a staph infection and it prevented me from fucking doing much?
He went, I'm gonna take this fight. I'm gonna get paid. I'm not gonna have to go there and do much. And then it was like, well, they gave him.
Imagine if the fight would have gone through. It would have been
fuck.
Bro, he probably would have gotten destroyed. He was facing Horiguchi. I didn't know that. Horiguchi would have fucking killed him.
Yeah, dude. He was facing Horiguchi for his first fight. I'm not going to say, he's afraid to fight Horiguchi, but, it's crazy, that happened.
I mean, Horiguchi's one of the few men to ever give fucking Mighty Mouse problems in the UFC.
Horiguchi's one of the, he's
one of the best. He is the best 125er out there, in my opinion.
100%. He's one of the. He should be considered in like the greatest of all time in that division.
At 125. Yeah.
Agreed. That's how good he is.
And he's a consensus top 10 at 35 when he does fight 35.
Yeah, he is. I mean, but the thing, he's definitely known more for being a 125
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's
an
definitely
absolute monster.
absolute
25.
monster. Yep, 100%. Okay, well, that almost sums it up. I got
Fuck?
the fuck was that?
What did you do?
I think I accidentally hit something. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's an interesting way to fucking end the podcast on.
All right. Well, we got one more. I got one more segment. I want to do one more thing with you. I want to do Mount Rushmore. Your MMA Mount Rushmore. Want to know
This
who's
was
your
not
best?
discussed.
Yeah, it was not discussed. It's a straight up thing. What, you not want to do it? Well, you scared?
Yeah, because I don't have no idea what the fuck.
Well, basically, I just want to know on your MMA, your Mount Rushmore of MMA commentators. We talked a little bit of commentators. Thank you.
I thought you were going. Okay, I was like, what's the caveat to this? Because Mount Rushmore of MMA out of the fucking blue.
Yeah, dude. No, listen, I have to mention, because we talked a little bit about Morrow in the beginning, but I definitely have to mention John Anik. He definitely is up there. He's one of the greatest commentators of all time. The dedication, homework that he puts into is it's almost above none. I can't say it's above none, but it's almost above none. It's unfortunate. I've heard recently that he might be leaving the UFC. They're not really sure about continuing his contract right now, so that's unfortunate. That would be a major.
I hope it happens so he can just rail on them. I know he
will. I think he will too.
Rail on them.
Off. Yeah. And honestly, it would be great to see him at another organization. So, whatever.
If he goes to PFL, you following him there?
He's not going to PFL. He has so much respect for himself. He would never do that. So,
but I mean, that's the thing though. Like all the divisions besides PFL have like known commentators. Bellator with Morrow, because he's the A side, unless Morrow gets double booked like he was.
Well, hold on. We'll get. I don't know what he should do. I don't know exactly where he should go.
FC, they got good commentators.
Yeah, ONE FC or something like that, or even Bellator. You'd have to see maybe one in America, but something like that. I wouldn't mind seeing him do something else. But he's, you definitely gotta put him up there. Next, I would have John Anik up there. I would also have
Boss play by plays.
Huh?
This is not play by plays.
This is anybody. Anybody you want to throw up there. I'd have Boss Rutan up there. Boss Rutan has got to be up there. He's one of the original color commentators. Had so many entertaining things to say. You know what I mean? In the beginning of Pride. I've got to throw Steven Quatros up there. He's the doctor before he in the beginning, he was literally the only guy who knew any fucking names of techniques. He was the only one who would even try anything at all.
I'm going to be honest. I've never heard of him.
What?
I haven't watched very many old school, like,
bro, he's the guy in the original, from all the original UFCs in the beginning and Pride too. Like
that's his name. I didn't know that.
Steven. Yeah. They call it, you've heard him. You just don't recognize the name that I'm saying. But anyway,
I don't recognize the name whatsoever.
He's definitely up there. I'm gonna go ahead, and I know there's only 4, presidents up there, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw one more. You've
only named 3 so far.
I know, but I've got 5. I've got to name 5.
Okay, you said
Joe Rogan's definitely in there. He's got to be up there. I mean, he injected so much passion into the sport from the beginning. His knowledge set in the sport. If he hadn't been there and it was just left to Goldie to call shit, Jesus, you know what I mean?
It would not have been virtually identical.
Perfect. You know what I mean? So you gotta throw Rogan up there. And then last and not least by far, actually last and greatest of all time, the GOAT, in my opinion, Mauro motherfucking Ranallo, dude. He's just, for me, when I was a kid listening to him talk about Pride, you want to talk about a guy who would take his time to go and explore all these Japanese wrestling legends you've never heard of, and take his time and go and talk to these guys in their gyms, bring translators with him. He'd go to Russia. He'd track down all these different guys from backgrounds, not just in America, to break it down for crowds, for maybe 50 to 60,000 Americans listening at the time. I mean, you're talking, such a small crowd. He put so much fucking passion into it. And then, yeah, he went on to do boxing, WWE, other wrestling things, other events, other MMA events. He's done the try. I mean, dude, I love him. He's just, he can't fail.
Tomorrow's the GOAT of GOATs.
He's the GOAT of GOATs, in my opinion. So that's my Mount Rushmore of commentators. I'd love to hear yours, good sir.
Fuck. Morrow, Rogan. I could put Anik up there as well. Who's my fourth? I'm like combing through like the catacombs of shit.
Got the German 3.
I'll put Boss just because I'm blanking on anybody else of significance.
Oh, that's fucking not bad at all. I like that.
Like 4. I got your 4, so your 5th is the original guy.
Yeah, Steven Quattros. Yeah, that's why I was like, I have to throw Rogan up there, but you know, Rogan's not my favorite of all time.
I should have joked at you and I should have said Randy Couture from 2000 something.
Randy was so bad. He was so
so
bad,
let me ask
dude.
you, since we're on the topic, then what do you think about the newer crop of UFC guys like the Felders, the Dominics, your DCs, your Bisping, those 4?
I love it. I mean, that's, you know, Dana said something a couple years ago, and I see what he was saying. If that's who he was talking about, you know, he said, hey, I've got a dream team coming up, you know, of UFC guys who really can make the commentating even better. And at the time, it was so hard to kind of see that because we had been.
Well, the first guy to really break out was Dan Hardy.
Dan Hardy. Well, I never was that big of a fan of Dan Hardy, but
I like Dan Hardy.
I thought really where you got to see was Daniel Cormier, Dominic Cruz. Good Lord, the breakdown from 2 guys who have been on top, the IQ, then Bisping followed, then Felder followed. Yeah, you know, I love Felder, but we're forgetting, and I almost threw this guy on my Mount Rushmore, but I didn't. We're forgetting who actually started the like current fighter at the time fighting to the desk. I mean, to be fair, that's always been a thing. Tito. There's always been Chuck. There's always been guys who come in early on in the UFC and kind of like guest commentating for certain fights. Randy specifically, right? But in my opinion, oh wow, and I just lost his name. Sorry, my bad. Middleweight, fought Vanderlei, Marine Corps captain.
Brian Stan.
Brian Stan was the fucking man.
Yes,
commentating. He was the pioneer of that position.
Yes, he was.
He was before Dan Hardy, and he literally, he was, bro. He literally was like breaking down these fights, and he was just talking about it.
I'm putting Brian Stan on mine.
All right, I'm throwing him in too. I'm going 6.
Sorry,
I'm
boss.
6.
Sorry, boss. I like Boss, but no, I'm going Brian Stan.
No, just go 5. Just go 5. I'm telling you, Brian Stan, he had such a good breakdown of things from a fighter's perspective that we didn't see before. And it was when Goldie was still there and Stan was doing the fight night cards and stuff like that. He was literally, and I remember when he walked away from it to take another job, I was like,
it was sad.
Fuck, dude. It was
sad.
I think we covered it a little bit.
Yeah, he walked away
when we first started podcasting
more closely with POW MIA, I believe.
Yeah. Well, no, he walked away for a real estate job.
Oh,
he became the president of a real estate company. Basically, these investors hired him to become the face of it.
Oh, eat your heart out, Ali Quinta.
Right? Ali Quinta was just like, "Hey, can I sell a freaking house or what?" So, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, thank you, Brian Stan, for the contribution. It would be great to see him back in commentary one day. But yeah, somebody have to pay him a lot of money, I think, to come out of that job.
Oh, I'm sure.
But anyway, well, that was fun. I think we're getting near the end here, wrapping it up. We're rounding on time for sure. I know I said something to Ethan before the beginning of the show. We're going to try to keep the show to an hour and a half. Sometimes we go a little over.
And I said an hour 45, and look where we're at.
An hour 45, we're at 43. So that's all right. Huge fight weekend. We got this card. We got fight night coming up this weekend. We got BKFC coming up this weekend. Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold. That'll probably be pretty much carrying the weekend, but UFC's on too. So we'll see what's going on. Thanks for tuning in. If you're catching us live, thank you. If you're catching us after, awesome too. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, wherever you follow your podcast at, Spotify, iTunes. Go on the Goog, MMA for Marks podcast. We will be there. And we'll see you next week. Follow us out there, buddy.
Yes, sir. You can follow Andy at MMA number 4 Marks. You can follow me on Twitter at SHOSTOPPA24. You can follow my podcast Instagram at podcast.senpai. Thank you, Sean, for hosting us on W2M Network. Shout out to my boy Matt with the Talk to Keki podcast. We'll be recording this Friday. Check us out live. As Andy said, you can catch us wherever you listen to your local podcast, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, etc. Type in MMA for Marks, number 4 Marks. You will find us there. Anything else I can think of? I cannot. So let's bid everybody adieu, good sir.
Bye.
Like a Nate Diaz chokehold. See ya.
If there's one thing I know for sure, it's that I know nothing.